Good morning. Today we are working on correcting CO29. That was converting percents and fractions, going back and forth. So if we're given a percent, we know how to make a fraction using that magic number of 100 as our denominator. And going from fraction to percent, we make that fraction denominator 100 and then go up to our percent from that numerator. So some of these we did together, some we had to do on our own. So I'm just going to go through. Remember, when we're turning into fractions, we have to simplify. So if you did not simplify on the test, it would be wrong. So we have 82% is 41/50ths, 75% is 3/4, 9% is 9/100ths, 30% is 3/10, 5% is 1/20th, 50% is 1/2, 145% is 29/20ths, 18% is 9/50ths, 180% is 9/5ths, 31% is 31/100ths. Any questions on how I got any of those fractions? Sometimes we miss how to simplify something. Any questions? All right, let's look at converting percents. Fractions to percents. 3/5 is 60%. 9/25 is 36%. 2/1 is 200%. 35/50 is 70%. 7/20 is 35%, 4/25 is 16%, 1/2 is 50%, 2/10 is 20%. Any questions on those? Always remembering, what is our magic number for this unit? 100. Thank you, Kellen. Second page. Okay, so how many shots did he make? He made 3/5 of his shots. In history class, we had 72% and 85% as our scores, and the second test was 13% better. We did those ones together. These ones you were doing on your own. We had to put them in order with their percentages. So first, with the lowest one, is Ron at 70%, then Sharon at 15%, then Michelle at 80%. Then we have our battery. So our battery uses up 25% of the battery. 25% is 25/100. So that would be 1/4. So there's several different ways you could solve this. Okay. One way is figuring out 1/4 of the battery was used up. That battery is 4 hours. So I drew my box and broke it up into 4s, each box being 1 hour. I know that 1/4 was used, so 1 hour was used up. The question is, how much time remains? Well, 3 hours remain on our battery. So if we know 1/4 was used, we know 3/4 are left. So that would be 3 hours. Adeline. So we would want to convert minutes to hours because we know that here it says hours. So 3 hours would be 60, 120, 180 minutes. So I'm not sure how you got the 215, but that would be wrong. If you had 180 minutes, I would accept that because that means the same as 3 hours. Do you see how we got that? Okay. Another way would be saying, well, if 25% is used up, 75% is left. So 75 out of 100 is left, so that also is 3 hours. So you could look at it either way, how much was used up and subtract it, or how much is left. Then we have a soccer team plays 50 games and they win 36. What percentage of their games did they win? That's our first question. So 36 out of 50 becomes 72% was 1. Then it says what percentage of their games did they lose? You could either do the opposite and say, well, they lost 14 out of 50, which is 28% loss, or you could do that 100% minus the 72%. We're left with 28% would be what they lost. Either way, you get 28%. Then our next science test will be out of 20 points. You hope to get a score of at least 90%. How many points do you need to earn this, or to achieve this goal? So if we want 90 out of 100, 90%, we need to figure out what out of 20 gets us there. So to go from 20 to 100, we multiplied by 5. So what do I multiply by 5 to get to 90? Off the top of my head, I don't know that. So I worked backwards and I said 90 divided by 5, and that gave me my 18. So I know 18 out of 20 points would be 90%. So sometimes we don't know the multiplying up, we divide it backwards. Does that make sense? How many of us got that one right? Good job. Those of us that didn't get it, do we understand it now? Because there will be word problems on the test, and we need to know how to break down the word problems so we can figure them out. So we're feeling okay on that? All right. If you're watching this at home, I hope you are well. I hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.